It looks like the Toronto Raptors front office management is going to be busy in the next 2 weeks. Recent news suggests that the Raptors are most likely going to be buyers at the trade deadline since their now 11-4 surge into playoff contention in the last 15 games. Now, the Raptors starting five of Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Gary Trent Jr. are only second to the Milwaukee Bucks' starting five, the highest scoring starting five in the league. Where the Raptors lack the most firepower is off the bench, where they rank amongst the league's worst in scoring for that category. If the Raptors are gonna make a deep playoff push, which very much seems to be the case, they're gonna need to shore up two weaknesses in their roster, because these are blatant. Number one is more firepower off the bench, and number two is attaining a true center who can guard the paint against other real bigs, as well as stretch the floor. In regards to firepower off the bench, trading away Chris Boucher's expiring contract could land Toronto a proper veteran point guard or wing player such as the Nets' Joe Harris, for example, whose name has also been tied to the Raptors recently as a potential candidate to help boost the team's three-point shooting off the bench. Another player the Raptors could consider adding is Josh Jackson from the Phoenix Suns. The former 4th overall pick proved his worth with a solid season last year, posting averages of 13.4 points per game with 4.1 rebounds on 42% shooting. Jackson would come cheap, and given the fact that he is only 25 years old with massive upside, this could provide the Raptors bench with some much needed scoring punch, and chances are that given the Raptors' elite player development and training, he may improve and be seen as a steal perhaps in the future, like many of Masai's other players that he has prospected and brought to Toronto. With Yuta Watanabe and Svi Mihailuk being the main scorers off the bench for Toronto, adding to that depth is not just a good idea, but a necessity if this team is to be seen as a serious playoff contender. In regards to the center position, the Raptor rumor mill has dished out names of a myriad of candidates. Pacers 3-and-D big man and the NBA's leading shot blocker, might I add, Myles Turner, has been mentioned numerous times now, although the asking price and his salary expectations, it's probably the major obstacle in that scenario at this point. While Turner would be great to have, the Raptors would probably have to part with a future first since Indiana's rebuilding, on top of a player package consisting of most likely Chris Boucher and or GTJ, which probably would not happen, and I, for one, would not want that personally at all, because GTJ does have a lot of tremendous potential, and this is a breakout year for him. And of course, all this with possibilities of more mix and match scenarios to get this deal done for the Raptors. Another familiar center's name has been tied to the Raptors once again as of recently, and that's former bench mob key cog, Jakob Poeltl. And this is probably the most interesting of all potential candidates for this 5 position for the Raptors. Poeltl is in the midst of a career season with the Spurs, with averages of 12.4 points per game, 8.8 rebounds, and 1.4 blocks on 59% shooting. Jakob was sent to the Spurs as part of the trade that saw him and DeMar DeRozan get shipped out to San Antonio for Kawhi and Danny Green. DeMar and Jakob's development certainly didn't take a step back, considering the Spurs, like the Raptors, have been known for their elite training and player development for decades now. Jakob signed a super reasonable $27 million 3-year contract with the Spurs, which makes this deal even more enticing. The Raptors are, however, only $300,000 below the luxury tax threshold. Acquiring Poeltl would most likely mean saying goodbye to Chris Boucher plus some assets. The Raptors would acquire someone who can man the middle and be the anchor in the paint they so desperately need. Acquiring Poeltl would most likely mean saying goodbye to Chris Boucher plus some assets. But on the flip side of things, the Raptors would acquire someone who can man the middle and be the anchor in the paint that they so desperately need, a true center. Poeltl stands at a whopping 7'1", and the Austrian is already familiar with the Raptors system and coaching. He would come cheaper than a Myles Turner and would be a seamless fit. In my personal opinion, this seems like the man the Raptors need to acquire, or should I say reacquire. If you are on team #BringBackJakob, leave your comment with the hashtag below and like this video. Be sure to subscribe for quality Raptor and NBA content. Looks like we got some exciting times coming up, Raptors Nation. This is your boy Ali. Have a great weekend. Peace.